Alright, hey everybody. So, guess what? More Jesop King today. Excited? It's Monday, start of a new week. You guys working on your stuff? What are you guys working on today? We got Lineart. So, if, actually, here, let me make sure I can see it. So, on Sunday, was it Sunday? Sunday or Saturday? The last time we streamed, I forget which one it was, over the weekend. I said I wanted to start doing some, like, pencil work and stuff. And also doing ink work. Anyway, whoops, let me get this so I can see. Whoops. Sorry, guys, I'm all over the place. Interesting. Okay, I'm trying to see. Cancel. No, I just want to see what we're streaming. Cool. Technology, eh? We have to have some sort of problem. If we're not having a problem, then it's not working 100%. Weird. Okay, well, what's going to happen here? I'll show you guys this when I get back. I have to kill the stream, but we're going to come right back, okay? My OBS, the software that I use to stream, it's just not, I can't, that's why you keep seeing the screen flicker. I can't actually open it. You see it sliding down here? Oh, wait, maybe we can, there we go. Wow. A lot of effort for nothing here. Anyway, so I printed these out so you guys can kind of see them. What we were going to do, but deadlines say that I can't do this. I intended to do them over the weekend, but as it happens. So I just printed out these 3 pages here. You can kind of see them, right? And they're just the stage you can see right now. But what I was going to do was just lightbox these and ink with traditional tools. Just like go over it with a very light pencil. Just the simpler panels anyway, where it's just like a character or two. And then just sit outside in the sun and grab some microns and go to town. Sadly, it didn't happen. So let's get. That's what we're gonna be doing with this. So we're doing our line art today. Some of these bigger panels I might save off stream. That way we can get some. Look like we'll have some actual momentum and action happening here. Just try to make this hand a little bit larger. Shin Guy 909, thanks for the follow, my man. Welcome. If you have any questions, anybody, I want to get this thing set up here at the top. You see where you get like the follower count. I want to add maybe under me another little black bar that just says like feel free to ask questions. Some people feel a little shy that they don't want to ask stuff. Hey, Rice Farmer, how's it going? If you're drawing, you got to draw. Let's do. Let's all draw. Let's go. Actually, let's do this. That way you guys can hear that. Cool. Actually, sorry, I forgot my water. Give me 1 second. All right. Hey, Tim, welcome in. What's my favorite drink? Whew. Whew. I don't like alcohol. I drink alcohol from time to time, but not like I don't like it. I usually drink water, as lame as that sounds, or coffee. I drink pop time to time. My favorite. You'd think if I had a favorite, it wouldn't take this long, right? I don't know, man. Different things for different times, you know, like coffee when it's really cold outside is amazing. Coffee anytime is amazing, but like especially during the winter and stuff, like on my day off, I get, you know what I look forward to? Oh, this is kind of sad. On Saturday and Sunday when I'm done work, on my day off, I hate sleeping in. I hate sleeping in because I feel like it's a waste of time. If I'm super tired, of course, but if I'm working my 9 to 5 or whatever, and coming home from work, it's hard enough for me anyway to, with all the other shit we all have to do, like responsibilities. You want to go work out, go to the gym, get healthy. Like there's a lot you got to do, right? Take care of the place you live, all that stuff. So on my weekends, I hate sleeping in just because I feel like those are 2 golden days for me that I get to do whatever I want to do, and to be as productive as I can be. Sometimes it's just a wash, like I'll go to my brother's or play a couple games or something like that. But for the most part, it's pretty militant, I suppose. Anyway, all that's to say, what I do on Saturday and Sunday, what I look forward to the most is coffee and peanut butter and jelly toast. How white does it get? Then how much more white does it get than that? Get the French press going. Spend a little extra time on the coffee. Absolutely delicious. But if you know what, just for the sake of what we're saying here, I'll say coffee. I'll say coffee is my favorite drink. Hey, Pillowhead, welcome, my man. What do your coworkers think of your comic goals? I don't actually talk about my comic goals at work. I feel like a couple of things, right? One, I'm the only artist there. My boss, the guy running the show, he went to the same art school that I did, which is an animation course that I dropped out, but he went all the way. So we kind of have a connection with that kind of thing, and he knows the basics and fundamentals of design. He just, I think, lacks the maybe not doesn't lack, but he just doesn't like to pursue doing that, right? He'd rather run a business, which is cool. So I don't really have any artists to bounce stuff off of. There's one developer that I work with. He's really into comics and stuff like that. The people I work with, they know that I draw comics and stuff. I don't know how many of them know that. Like a good chunk of them know that I stream and stuff, but I don't think anybody cares or they look, right? Because it's art stuff. They're developers and things, right? Like they're into other things. Or you know what? And this is one thing I struggle with is, and a lot of them they do this as well. When they're done work, they go home and they have their life. They go home, they play their video games, cuddle with their significant others and all that stuff, like family people and all that. Um, so far anyway, that's not me. I don't. That's when I leave work. This has never changed since I've ever gone to work. Which is when I get home, it's like I get very selfish that way. In that it's my time and I can like if I want something, if I want my comic career, whatever the hell that means, right? If I want my comic potential to maybe someday get me somewhere or open a couple new doors or whatever, like I have to find time to do that. And that's why I'm saying I'm selfish because you know uh, spending time with other people and stuff and hanging out, it's great, but it's one of the sacrifices I've been able to do because I choose to do, and I've done it for a long time. Just to answer your question specifically of what do they think, like I say, I don't think they know what my goals are. They just know that I draw comics and that I enjoy comics. So I would assume most of them probably think my aspirations aren't for like what we're doing right now. It's more like, oh, there's a comic book convention. You like comics, you'll probably go to that, right? Like it's a hobby or something, uh, and it's totally not that. And it's not that comics are anything too special for me. Like I don't want to romanticize the comics here at all. I'm just saying that again, being able to tell a story on my own is the main reason why I enjoy comics. More so than anything else. It's not like I grew up with reading superheroes and I just fell in love with superheroes and superheroes are the shit and I collect everything superheroes. I don't do that at all. Hey, Cross Gunther, welcome in. That face, love it. So again, I don't know if that answered your question at all, or most likely didn't. It's probably a lot more information than you asked for, but all good. Let's erase there. Oh yeah, and that's the other thing I was going to add to that I rambled on and didn't hit, which was I don't know about you guys, but if you work somewhere and you start talking about like, oh man, I'm working on this thing, and who knows what comes of it, but I might be able to get another job with it. Like that's not probably wise to be talking about that. It's not that I'm actively looking for a new job. That's not the case, but it could come across that way. And then in my mind, anyway, I start feeling like that starts putting like uh, a sourness, I suppose, to like your job. Your employer might start thinking like, well, shit, so and so is thinking of leaving. I gotta be on my tippy toes. And even like personally, that's not the case at all. I'm doing this because I enjoy doing it for sure, right? And the best part, and I think any good employer would agree to this, as much as you're there to help make money for them, and then you make money from them and all that crap, right? But any good employer, they want to see the best out of everybody. But it gets a little rocky, right? Because it's like, well, if they're investing all this time and money into you, and you're not even planning on staying, and then it's like, are you, it's a whole thing. I'm sure most of you guys have already gone through something like this. You probably have just kept it to yourself too. Unless it's like a retail job or like a part-time job somewhere where like pretty much everybody that's working there, nobody wants that job. They don't even want that job. They just need it. But they won't say that they need it. Every time I start streaming with you guys, my allergies kick in, and it just sounds like I'm always sick. Awesome. I meant to ask you and Jersey in his stream the other day if you guys have ever used gradient maps for coloring. I don't know if it would be helpful for Jesop or not, but it seems cool. I use gradient maps all the time. Not in Jesop. Uh, Not that I couldn't do it. I just have no reason to because I copy and paste a lot of gradients anyway. Where the gradient map comes into play is for, in my opinion, more something that needs to be edited or like a painting or what's an example? So okay, so at my day job, let's say you guys have ever played like a match three, think of like Candy Crush or something. You know when you're in a puzzle and then you get the background behind the puzzle. Well, I have to draw a bunch of those, right? And so it could be like a forest, it could be the wilderness, it could be the city, a desert, right? And the easiest way, at least how I've come across learning gradient maps and stuff. Thank you for bringing it up. But it's just it's that it's I can just worry about doing everything in gray for the most part, and then I can work out my shapes and stuff like that. My lighting will always work, and then I can apply a gradient map over top, and then worry about color after, and then combine them, and then paint over top. If that makes sense. I know if you're bringing up gradient maps, you know all about them. Some people might not know. Essentially, it's what I just said there. You draw in gray. It doesn't have to be in gray. It can be any color. And you drop a gradient map. Here, I guess. Here, let's just do this. It's easier to show it than to just explain it. So imagine, this is probably the easiest way to do it. Let's just do a grayscale thing here, okay? And I'll show you one of the powerful benefits of it here. So let's just go here and we'll go foreground to background. Sure. All right, I'm just going to, great. So I have this gradient map in here, okay? So, actually, is that going to work? No, that's not going to work. 1 second. So let's fill it with, yeah, black first, and then we're going to foreground to transparent. Let's pick white. There we go. Oh, see, this is the thing that Manga Studio. I just want you to pick that color, but it's saying, no, it's the foreground, doesn't matter the color, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so go here, and I'll just put this gray, just so you can see the spectrum here, okay? So this is the point of a gradient map, all right? Now, you can do it to the entire image. What I'll do, I'll just show you here. So you go layer, correction layer, gradient map. Now, I'm going to hit OK for now, but I want it just to affect this. So if you guys see over here, you can, is it showing up? Yeah, you can click the clip below so that'll only affect this gradient we've done, okay? So when I double click it, check this out. I'm just going to start applying this, and you see what's happening to our gray here? It's just turning into like different gradients. And what it's doing essentially is if you look at the gradient map at the top, let's go with a simple one here. Wow, there's actually a lot going on in these. Okay, well, anyway, so this white, whatever, imagine this scale here is literally what you see over here. So on the right here, this little arrow down here, this means whatever color you want white to be, you click here and you pick a color and it'll change. And then the farthest left one here would be black. So instead of it being black, it's blue in this case. Okay, so let's do a little example. I'll show you here. You can do this in Photoshop as well. So let's just say I want white to be, I don't know, this nasty yellow. Ugh. You go over here and you want this to be like, I don't know, a red. And you can do bright colors as well, and it'll tint it, right? Like that actually looks kind of nice. The thing is, shades of gray will start to become other things, right? So check this out. So if I make a new layer, and I'll just do this middle ground gray, as I start painting in here, because it's a flat gray, it'll be that color. And I know this might seem a little odd. Like, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but this might be kind of cool, right? So why does this matter? Well, what you can do then is like for future work in your comic or whatever you're doing. Let's turn this off so you guys can see. Let's just say I have a panel that's like this, right? And I'm just doing mountains. I'll just do some super basic stuff here, right? Let's just say, I'm going to try to go quick here. So let's just put like, I don't know, like a horizon here or something. It's maybe getting darker up at the top. It's getting like nighttime, right? And I want to do, like I said, the mountains here. So we're just going to put some mountains up from the foreground. I think this looks familiar already. Pretty sure I did this with you guys. Now the quickest thing you can do is Let's clip it here so it all goes in there, right? So now that you have that gradient map, you can actually copy it, and paste it if you want. And I'm going to move it up and check it out. It changed it. So why that matters is, like, let's say you pick a nice gradient you like. What you can do is you can go ahead and paint scenes in the future and just copy the gradient map and paste it in, and you won't have to worry about color because the gradient map's going to take care of it. Now, it might sound like advanced. I think this starts to tap into a different area. It is an advanced technique, but you can do this in your basic line art too. I'll show you that in a second. But this is the other thing you can do as well. Okay, so let's like a new layer. We're going to make another gradient map. I'm just going to hit OK. Okay, and what I'm going to do is select just the mountains. This is going to be pretty rough. I'm not doing perfect stuff here. Just trying to give you the example here. So we'll go there, and I think what we want to do is invert the selection. Did I lose you guys yet? Where's invert? That. And I think we fill it with black, right? So if you look over here at the gradient map, no, do you fill it with white? Do you delete? That's what it is, delete button. Nope. Sorry, let's go back. Yes, that's right. Sorry. So if you see the white area in the box, you guys see that? Maybe it's not. Yeah, it should show up. Sorry, the stream was lagging. Anyway, so that means that's what's selected. I'm not going to get into all that with you guys because what the fuck, right? But let's just say now I wanted like the mountains to be blue. It's still going to do the same thing because it's a shade of a gray, right? But check this out. So let's just say we're going to go green with it. Nasty green. All right. So I only started with that gray. But check this out, right? So if I'm here, let's say we're going to go with like a lighter gray. Check it out. It'll start to tint it because of that, not only the gradient map, but because of the way the gray sliders work. So let's go like a dark, like a black. It's still going to be gray, right? And that's the point of this stuff. And you'd kind of start from here, and then you'd move on and paint. And again, right? Like let's just say you want to go back right here, and I'm going to go bright white. I'm going to paint some clouds. Notice how they're yellow? It's tinting it based on your gradient map. So you guys see what I'm saying? Check it out, research it, look into it. But yes, I felt like I had to give the example for that, even though we're not doing that, because it's a complicated thing. But for me, no, I don't use it myself for this project anyway. But it is definitely a great thing to have in the toolbox. 100%. I use it. There's actually a comic book cover I did. If you guys remember. Modern Testament. Do you guys remember that? I'm pretty sure that this is all the same. All the same things are fired off here. They're starting to like sound similar because I know I showed it to you guys then. It was a cover I did, and that's what I did. I just grayscaled the background and kind of grayscaled the characters. Threw in a gradient map, and just very quickly, it lets you see what colors might work in a scene. That way you can kind of do that super quick without having to go like, we're going to do blue for the sky and then light blue for the... You can just do grays, like grayscale, and make sure it works there. That way it saves you a whole bunch of time before you start devoting a lot of color and time into trying to figure out the right colors and stuff. Anyway. All right, let's turn her off here because I'm starting to lose what I'm looking at. That's why I screwed this up. Alright, so what we're going to have to do is put her back in here. I screwed this up because I'm supposed to have this back side be the back. Anyway, doesn't matter. You guys don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So, let's... What about you, Tim? Do you use it? Do you use it for your comics and stuff, or not really? What didn't I get? A while back, I was watching Trent Kanuga. I always say his last name wrong. Kaniuga, and he used gradient maps a lot, so I was inspired to use them because of him. But I'm going back to just doing flats and shading. They're kind of hard to wrap your head around at first, but I bet they're crazy useful if you can fit them in. Yeah, I will say, like, for comics, I don't think they're necessarily powerful. It's really for, like, I know I've seen Trent's channel as well. If you notice, he's doing concept art or character design or a scene. And if let's put it this way, if you're painting at all, I think it's a great thing to have. But the thing is, when you're doing, just say, like what I'm doing with the shade, it's almost a waste of time, to be honest. Just as fast as adding your shading, you could just put a color. It's not. It's those blends and stuff. That's where it's really powerful. Hey, Race Farmer. He's saying gradient maps sometimes come off really digital looking. Sure, yeah. I mean, you can't really. Like, actually, if you guys follow, what is his name? Art Germ? Is that his name? The guy that draws a lot of, like, he draws. If you got Manga Studio or Clip Studio at all, he drew the cover. Right. He uses them as well. And he has an excellent video where he shows uh, it's how do you turn grayscale into color, and he uses gradient maps. But there's like actual things I didn't even know about, where you apply a gradient map, like let's say it's skin color, and you can adjust the way the gradient map. I don't think you can do it in Clip Studio Paint the way you can in Photoshop. And what he was doing made it look like really nice, really nice. Not that you can't do it at all in Clip Studio. It was just it was different. Like one thing I'll say that yeah, he does sit on a hey, he's a great artist. Great artist. One thing again that I say gradient maps would actually be pretty good for, even if you're doing backgrounds or even if you're coloring the way I am, is backgrounds. 100% backgrounds. Character, it's a little different. Unless your character is like the entire image and you're doing again blending of any kind, then they make a lot of sense. Again, anything with a gradient, it makes sense to do that. What I'm doing, no, not really, because it's much more just like cell shading, right? It's all it is. I put gradients every now and then in like a background. That's why they'll work. They kind of work there. But what they're really awesome too is starting an image. So if you just have like, let's say it's like I don't know, like you're trying to set a mood or a scene, you could kind of go like like browns or greens or something, and then start coloring over top of that, and turn the opacity of the coloring down a little bit, and it kind of pulls that background color away. It's just like how they used to do, or a lot of people actually still do like painting now, right? Like instead of having white canvas, you just grab like a I don't know burnt sienna or some shit. I don't know. I don't paint. You grab one of those things and you just start going. You don't perfectly fill it with that color, but you do it so that it adds texture and stuff to it, and that's why. Anyway, in Art Germ's video that he was talking about, that's why I brought him up is when he was saying right like that you're using these things is not to just use a gradient map and then you're done. You do your grayscale, add the gradient map, and then paint over top of that. That's that way you can get your colors corrected and you can still kind of your tones right, your lighting is correct. And it's hard to do. You know, and it requires like anything else, it's practice. Because I think a lot of people will go into gradient maps and stuff when you're saying like color your line art gray or like um, do grayscale and then just put color over top of it. People they don't understand or they're not strong yet with like even lighting a scene in just black and white. They rely too much on color. Like a highlight, you go to the yellows or the hot colors, let's say, and your shadows you go into the purples and the blue. Right? Like you don't understand the why you're doing that. You're just that's what you've heard in tutorials or something. So an advanced technique like coloring your line art, coloring gray. Not why do I keep saying line art? Coloring a gray scale image and putting color into it. It's an advanced thing because you're actually relying on some other stuff that it's not really talked too much about. I find in those videos. Cross contour off topic. But did you get to watch the ESI or Combo Breaker Grand Finals over the weekend? Holy hell, I missed them. I missed those. I didn't get a chance to see them. You know what I did over this weekend? Even though I kind of started this, I did a lot of work for sure. But most of my time when I was like, I'm taking breaks. I took a lot, like a healthy amount of break, maybe a little gratuitous, but I took some solid breaks. And I think I don't know if I was sharing with you guys specifically, but I bought this board game, card game. It's all I've been talking about since like Friday. It's called Legendary, but it's Marvel themed. So it's like Marvel characters and stuff, and it's a board game mixed with a card building or deck building game. So, if anybody wants to talk about it, we can talk about it. Love to talk about it. But if you ever played like Ascension or Magic the Gathering, it's similar, but it's not this. It's not exactly the same. And you can play. The reason why I like it is I can play by myself, and if people want to play, they can. You can play like 1 to 5 people, and I've been playing a lot of it. I like it. I miss it, man. I used to play board games all the time growing up. And I miss Magic the Gathering. I just don't have the time and the money. And when I say time or money, I don't like losing, and I don't find going to tournaments fun if I lose all the time. So if you never played Magic, you can do this thing called Friday Night Magic, which is awesome. I highly recommend everybody at least try it. Depends where you're at. It can be anywhere from free to like $10. I don't think it would go any higher than that. Everybody in your local area kind of contributes that at a game store usually. And then from there, you guys all play a tournament till like around midnight, most likely. It's usually on a Friday. Oh, it is Friday Night Magic. And it's fun. It's a whole lot of fun. And if you win at the end, you get prizes and like packs. And it's never cash. The cash is meant for like the store and blah blah blah. Right? That's all great. It's actually a lot of fun. But what I don't like spending money, especially in that, and just like losing. Like playing that just to play with people is fine. I could go to the store throughout the week, and there's always people around, and I could just ask anybody want to play a couple of games of Magic, and it get the same thing. But that tournament feel, like the butterflies you get, the nerve, and you're like, it's serious when it's a tournament, right? When it has that name, and they're awesome. I love them. But again, like I said, I guess I'm just a sore loser or whatever you want to call it. But I'd at least, like I said, I would like my win ratio to be 60% of the time win. So that means half of the time I sit down, I'm winning, right? A little over. I'm okay with even 50%. But in order to get that high of like a win chance, you either A, inherently need to be good, which is very rare. Art has already showed us this, right? So that means the only way to get better is I have to study, got to watch the tapes, got to see where I played wrong, watch competitive people playing a similar deck, asking questions, researching, meaning watching videos, and it's fun stuff. All of it's fun. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. But I just got to be real. I don't have the time for that, so that means I can't get what I want out of it. So then I have to just kind of walk away. Just my call, just me. I'm sure nobody else is like that. Maybe there's some people like that. But that's where I kind of like started looking into like, oh, what are some single player games? And single player games are like, ugh, a bunch of plebes play those things, scrubs. But it sort of scratches a little bit of an itch, and I don't have to be competitive. There's like I found a Facebook group actually that of people that kind of in the same group. It's sort of the same game. and they post like weekly challenges and stuff like that, and that stuff's fun. I mean, it's not the same. It doesn't. It's not like going to an FGC thing or something and sitting down and trying to beat people with Zangief and stuff. You know, like tournaments with actual real people, real life stuff. It's just like it's different than a convention, but it's similar where you're there and it's real, and your nerves are kicking in, and you're getting feelings. You know, like that you don't normally get on a day to day. And they go away the more you do this stuff, but it's still exciting. It never stops being that, unless you're losing all the time. Then it's not fun. Then you need to start. You want to start changing shit, or else you become super salty, and that's salty isn't good. Or just play the meta's most hated cancer deck to win. No, and Tim, you're right. And I used to do that too because I don't have the time to play test and stuff. However, even though you're playing the best deck, we'll say, right? You still need to, I don't know, maybe it's our local stuff that we call this pilot it. You got to pilot a deck, right? And that means you have to play enough games so that you know the deck for the most part inside and out, and you know that in certain situations, this is the line of cards you play. A good example is, let's say you have a card that says destroy target creature. Well, that's great, but unless you play enough games, what you think or what you perceive might be a great target for that spell to hit, like a big fat creature, it might be in your best interest not to, because you have something else in your deck that kind of does that, should answer that. And it's those little things that actually get you the big wins, right? And that's what takes time. There's no you have to either see it or do it and learn from it. It's the same as anything. It's the same as even drawing, right? You want to make a comic, but you've never done one before, you're going to have to do the same stuff. You have to, watch me do it or other people do it, and then you also have to make it yourself and get beat up, ask questions, come back stronger, right? Or don't, and just know that you'll never get as far as you wanted to get. And if that's the case, then that's okay. Then it is what it is. Most likely to be like a hobby or something, right? Nothing wrong with any of that stuff. I swear, these conversations, right? What's it called? The dip. We always end up talking about that because that's exactly what this is. So, what's that? If only Hearthstone had that kind of depth. Yeah, I kind of got out of Hearthstone because of that. That's what I love about Magic. And I know people people used to make fun of Magic when in high school. You didn't even talk about it. You didn't even talk about going to the comic book store, man. Unless you knew there's a couple people that you might have just run. You're like, oh, hi, I didn't know about the, hi, I didn't know you were here, and then now you guys are friends, because nobody else at school or high school in this case, like it's just the nerdiest stuff ever, but it's the best stuff. Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering. At the time, anime was pretty cool. Didn't watch too much, but. RPGs. Nobody played RPGs unless you were a nerd. Great stuff. Rice Farmer. I tried to learn Magic the Gathering too hard and complicated. Am I stupid? No, you're not stupid. It is difficult for sure. It's not. It doesn't hold your hand at all. Like, in some cases you can. You know what? Here's the thing. With Magic, you have to know the buddies you're playing with, okay? So if you and your buddy, you guys go to, like, let's say Walmart in this case, don't. If you've got a local hobby shop, don't even be afraid to go in there where all the nerds are. Just go in there, and, everybody's super friendly that I've ever been at. Most of these places are just, regular people. And just ask them for, like, let's say you and your buddy are trying to get into Magic, and I think this is the bad way to doing it. At least that's what I've heard, but it can get you started, right? And just like, I'd like to get 2 like starter deck kind of things, or I think they call them duelist decks or something. So it comes with 2 like 40 card decks, one for you and one for a buddy, and you guys just go home, shuffle it up, and you play it. And those decks, they're made to be pretty tame. They don't go too expansive. Where it gets tricky, and this is the one thing in Magic has conditioned me forevermore. Every single card game I play, including this Marvel one, or any other, if you're again playing Ascension or deck building things, or anything that has phases, such as like your draw phase and you play stuff, right? Not really Monopoly or stuff like that, but stuff that has like a little bit complex stuff. What Magic has always taught me, and it'll never go away, is responses. Okay, so if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, most games don't have this, But Magic, oh my God, does Magic ever have this? So in Magic, whenever you do something or your opponent does something, most often you have a chance, pretty much every set, I can respond to that. And that alone complicates the game big time. Right? Because people can go like, I'm going to do this, and you're like, in response, I'm going to activate this, and then the other person goes, okay, in response to you doing that, I'm going to activate this ability, draw a card, cool, and then I'm going to in response to the initial, after my triggered ability resolves, and before the whole interruption resolves, I'm going to do this. And it back in the day, they've clarified it now, but back in the day, they used to call that the stack. So imagine a game that has stacks of effects and interrupts and stuff, right? So like I said, I play a guy, right, and I go attack. That ability of him tapping to move to my attack step is fine. But if I go in response to you declaring an attacker, now it's almost like you just press pause on the game and you have a thing, an ability on the stack, this metaphorical stack. Then things have to resolve in a certain way, and that's where it gets complicated. That 100%, I'll never disagree with you. But with saying all that, there are simple ways that you can play. You guys can play your deck or whatever, right, and play it as you assume it is. And you might get a little. I don't know where you got hung up on at all, Rice Farmer. Like, if you didn't know what you could respond to, or if you were just playing whatever and it was just boring, you're throwing spells out, casting big fat creatures, and you lost and stuff. I don't know, right? But it can be very easy if that's all you want it to be. I remember the first time I played Magic, it was a set called Ice Age. If there's any Magic heads in here, you guys know what the hell I'm talking about. And I bought they used to sell them in starter decks back then, and I still remember getting, they're like, I don't think they're called Grizzly Bears, because Grizzly Bears are actually a really good card, but not anymore. But back then they were really good. I just remember this bear walking in a snow-covered forest, and I remember going back to school, high school, right? And we were in math class, and I was going through this. It was artwork on cards, and the art wasn't that good, but it was still, there's something there that was awesome, and it was the only place that had this kind of feeling, and I was like, this is really cool stuff. And the rule book that came with it printed, I'm not even kidding you guys, it was this thick. So imagine like you buy a poker deck, right? Like from a dollar store or something. That's the size of Magic cards, but the starter deck is like that thick. Inside there was a rule book this thick. So you take it out and I was reading all the stuff like, oh, like this is cool. Again, remember, I'm playing like, was Diablo 2 out at the time? Or Diablo 2 was after Magic. So what the hell were we playing? We must have been playing some scrub PS1 games back then. Yeah, it would have been PlayStation 1 end of SNES, I think, around that era. I remember just reading it, and it was just like the fact that this, and I hadn't played Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that. And what grade? I think it was in grade 9 at the time of high school. So just looking at this shit, and in today's world, things are different. You guys are all like used to all this stuff now, right? But back then, man, it was like, this is awesome. It's a game, right? With cards, like this was not even a thing. This wasn't even real life, right? That's why sometimes it's great to be alive during certain periods of entertainment like this. Imagine being around when Nintendo came out with Mario and stuff. When friggin' Captain America came out, or some comic X-Men started coming. Like, imagine being around those times, being a kid, as interested in as you are right now in stuff, when those things were coming around, right? Like, now you look at that stuff and it's like, whatever, there's cooler shit, I agree. But, again, if you can kind of transplant your memory or your mind into that time, it kind of helps put things a little bit into perspective here. Anyway, so I remember, I'll be off this story pretty soon. So I remember just like drooling over these cards, and I went back even after school and I bought another one because I wanted to see if it was the same stuff inside or I just wanted more. I just wanted to collect this stuff. And I opened it up and there was like, I had some of the cards already, but there was new cards, and I'm like, holy hell! And it just became a thing. And I remember going home and I showed my brother, and we didn't really ever get along. We never saw. There was, and it's kind of sad. It's not sad, but if it wasn't for Magic the Gathering, honestly, I don't think we would be as close as we are today. How fucked is that? Because I was showing him this stuff, and like any kid, for the most part, that's, like, we're not big sports kids. Like, I don't really care about sports. My dad liked sports and tried to get us into, like, football and stuff. Football was kind of fun, but, whatever. I'm into, like, drawing and hell, even when I was growing up, art and stuff was kind of looked at as, like, a feminine kind of thing, mostly. Like, like, okay, your son or something's going to grow up to be, like, a man thing, you know, like a sports something or whatever the hell. And I'm drawing pictures and stuff, and it's kind of like, you know, kind of limp wristed stuff, as they would say. So I was looking at this and I'm like, this is sick, man. This is so cool. So my brother was looking at it and he's the same way. We were just interested and we are like, so how do we play this? And we went. I think it took like maybe like an hour to 2 hours for our first game, and we, even though we were going through each thing, it's like, so what, can I do this here? One sec. Let's go through and look at the rules. And I'm pretty sure the first time we played it all the way through, like, it didn't make sense. The game's much easier now than it was then. I'll just put that out there. But that's my little reminiscing story there for you guys. La la la. Rice Farmer, can I play you? Can I pay you to play test my board game when it's done? Absolutely, absolutely. I know a crew of people that would, they would participate in something like that as well. Yes, I would love to. I'm liking the artwork too you've been posting. Really good looking stuff. Tim, in these days, all we come up with are fidget spinners and shitty memes. Golden Day. Yeah, okay. To be fair, do you guys remember, somebody posted this meme and I thought it was relevant. You know those clackers? Did you guys ever use these things? It was a plastic thing with like two hard plastic things on the end, and they would always hang. And what you would do is you'd have to like lift one side and you just go like this. And all it's doing is it's smacking these things and they rotate around. So it's like clack, clack, clack. And you're just like click, 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 and you're just going that. Do you guys remember that? Do you remember devil sticks? You guys might call them Diablo sticks or something, where it was like you just had 3 sticks and you just had 2 sticks, and the one in the middle, you're just like click, 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 and you're flipping them back and forth. People do crazy stuff with that. I remember that. Pogs, all that kind of shit. It's all the same. The fidget spinner stuff, I think is dumb as well, but I still think it's part of that thing. It's just a thing that's around right now, right? Some people are going to grow up with it, and that's going to be the thing that they look back on. And they, the other thing to remember with all that stuff too, right, is like, you aren't who you are now. So back then, you probably had an imagination. Nowadays, our imaginations are shit. Like, I wish I had the imagination of, like, a kid. I remember my niece saying stuff where I was just like, where? Like, I think it was a lava sword. That was one that I remember. And that sounds like something that any of us could come up with, and maybe you guys did, but the idea of a lava sword makes no sense, right? But I heard her say it, and I was like, that's like one of the most amazing things I've ever heard. So it's like you have to put your current brain, I guess, in a different time, in a different body as well, right, with that stuff. So it's different, you know, and everybody's got their thing. Like, I can't imagine the kid, the boy or the girl that somehow right now is stumbling into an RPG. Like, and then they have not the same memories I did, but the same kind of things where they just lose themselves in this thing. You know, like, that's some special shit, and you know, like, you need that stuff out there, in my opinion. Anyway, I think you like it. I'm trying to hit the anime niche crowd. No, I mean, the art looks fantastic already, so don't worry about that, man. I'm just more excited about how the game plays and stuff too, for sure. I've been following it, creeping every time you're talking about it. Like, it's interesting to me. Fidget spinner is more of a stoner thing. Not, I don't know. Is it? I remember there was Kickstarters for this stuff. There's a Kickstarter I remember for that, and then the other one. My girlfriend picked one of those up. It's like the fidget cube, right? They're not for stoners, guys. What the fuck? It's literal things you can have. Like, I'm pretty sure most of these things, they weren't for style. It wasn't like, yo, check out my 6 spins. It was people in like boardrooms and shit, and developers that, you know, you're thinking, oh, one of the developers at work, he doesn't work there anymore, but I remember he came in and he has Rubik's cubes, and the other guy, he's got poker chips, and they play with it while they're trying to figure out math, or how do I look at the matrix and decode it, right? Artists, I mean, I can scribble and stuff, or I need to look at things. I don't need to whatever, but that's what they're not for stoner. Not that stoners couldn't have, but they're not made for stoners. Might either called Chinese stars. All right, so these bigger panels up here, I'm gonna save those because these are crowd scenes, and I don't know, they're boring to watch on a stream. So we're gonna just keep going. I think they're boring to watch on a stream. So we're just gonna cheat here, and we're just gonna jump around and draw some more stuff. Save as. Lineart. Alright, we don't need the thumbnail. All right, so let's make a folder. Call it, that doesn't matter what we're calling it, make a layer, and we'll duplicate that 4 times. 1, 2, 4. I remember also loving board games so much. I mean, we had video games and stuff too, but there's something about a board game, I don't know what it was. But I used to sit on my kitchen floor and make board games out of lined paper. I remember making this awesome. To me, it was awesome. It was probably shit because I remember I asked my parents to play, and I don't think I ever got my dad to play it, but my mom did once or twice. My brother did. Um, it was. I would. It was a Ninja Turtle one where it was like there was sewers. I would play video games and I would try to turn them into board games. So the Ninja Turtle one, I remember, and doing this, I would grab like it was all on lined paper, right? And it was just like a top-down like life kind of thing. You click around, you go into a sewer and stuff. But I would grab like paper and fold it a couple times so it was like this, right? And then the bottom part would be down like this, and then I would like tape this so it would go like this kind of stuff. That way they could stand up, and then on here I could draw like Leonardo and stuff. And it was fun because it's like I'm making little pieces. And some of you guys, you this won't make any sense to you guys. You guys don't care about that stuff. But if you're into making like crafty stuff or arts, I was gonna say arts and crafts, but I guess arts and crafts and in a way concept. I don't know if it's concept art, but if you like making or if you like playing board games, I'm assuming at one point in your life you at least try to think of one. It's like if you ever meet somebody that makes video games for a living, do you know how annoying it is? And almost like a lot of people say this, or like, "Oh, you make games for a living? Okay, check this out. This game, you should make this game." And they'll give you some. It's like, ugh, they're never good ideas either. And the same thing was happening. I know, 100%. When I was in my little world making board games, they must have been absolutely boring to play with. Probably making rules on the fly and shit. Let me duplicate this window. Right somewhere. Have you noticed saving in Clip Studio format is slower, like when zoomed in? Yeah, it does. It absolutely lags. I wonder if it's just my computer or what. Like a lot of my files here, like the layers, they're all gray. So I know when we were doing it, I don't know who turned me onto that, but by default they do color layers, and they just the fact that it's a color layer increases the file size like tremendously. So trying to save it that way was just like, oh my god, just a nightmare fuel thing. But now that I've gone to gray, I've been working like this for a while. It's definitely helped, but I still notice it. Absolutely notice it. It's not the good old Manga Studio 4 days, I'll tell you that. This is a crap mouth. Yeah, I'm updated as well. Cross contour. I do think it's my computer. It's not. It's not a very good computer. As an artist, I always get I've created this children book idea, and you're like, kill me now. Yeah, yep. I was watching a video on another Gary V thing. Actually, here I'll pull it up. It's entitled "Ideas Are Shit." So this might offend some of you guys, but I think if anybody needs to hear it, artists need to hear that ideas are shit. Only because the meaning of it, but the way I look at it, is that you should be coming up with lots of ideas, and if you're married to one till you die, and people don't like it, kind of again talking what we're talking about. In your head, things are always different than what everybody else is hearing and seeing. If you have an idea for a comic and you've been lucky enough to talk to a friend about it, you let me know how much you stumbled over your shit. Or somebody's like, so what happens there? And you're like, oh, I'm still figuring that out. It's like you don't even know your own things inside and out, and it's just these ideas are throwaway. Basically, the clutch, what he's saying, and I'll bring it up. It's a short clip so you guys can read it. Is ideas are shit. And how does it go? Ideas are shit. What's really important is execution. Is just actually doing. It's the same stuff, right? Don't make things perfect. Just make them done. That kind of Here we go. Hey, Gary. All right, let's open this up. Let's drag it over here.
Ideas are shit. Execution's the game. Some people need...
Okay. So you guys should be able to hear this. I'll turn this up a little bit louder than it normally is. I won't talk during it. That way I make sure you guys can hear it. Okay. It might be a little loud, but you guys just let me know.
Ideas are shit. Execution's the game. Some people need to be motivated. For me, I didn't. I got a chip on my shoulder, and that thing will drive me until the day I'm in the ground. I'm so motivated, it's coming out of my face. There's a sign in here. It says, ideas are shit. Hangs in our office, and it's driving people crazy. I want people to think, because the sign actually reads, if it was in its full entirety, ideas are shit until you execute them. Where does motivation stop and start? Everybody's got a different answer, but here's what I can tell you. It's really easy to be motivated. Either you've got it, or you can watch it. It's really hard to execute. It is the variable that separates people. But I know that most of you, 99% of you, aren't gonna do anything about it, and that sucks. There's so many great ideas. There's way less great executions. The 7,000 greatest ideas of all time never saw the day of light. They just haven't, because execution's hard. I promise you, sitting around and saying, oh, I had that idea for Uber before Uber did. Nobody gives a shit. I've got every idea that's gonna be successful over the next 100 years. It's all about AI and VR and AR and augmented and all this. I'll give them to you all. It doesn't matter, because most of you won't execute against it. Muhammad Ali runs his fucking mouth. He executes, and he's the greatest. Punchline is, like, I'll tell you what to do. I'll tell you how to make content on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and YouTube that can lead to good things. The reality is, somewhere in my late 20s, early 30s, I'm like, wait a minute. People don't do it. People like to talk. Show me. Be happy and execute on your thing. Don't justify your dreams, execute on them.
Anyway, so some daily inspiration for some of you. I already had somebody reply when I posted that. Some reply were like, just stupid shit, you know, like, I don't know, whatever. I'm not even going to get into it. But it's just some people, they'll hear certain things, and I'm not blaming anybody. Everybody hears stuff differently, right? Just some people don't want to hear somebody's view on something, and other people, they just eat that stuff up. And it's okay to be whichever one. It's true though, like how many, like I always appreciate everybody that reaches out and asks for help, but most of you in here anyway, right now, you guys know that as well, right? Like, you'll hear stuff, how do I get better, all that kind of stuff, and it's, nobody wants to hear that you just have to do it. It's like they think, and it's okay to ask questions from time to time, like you can get lost, you know, you can feel like you're just running in the same little rabbit hole day in, day out, you know, but a lot of cats, man, they hear you say stuff like, yo, how do I get a little bit better? Or how do I get, you know, much better? What am I doing wrong? How do I make it a career? How do I get, and it's like, the heart of it, you know, and I'm just starting to act on this now. That's why, you know, I'll get more aggressive. I know I'm going to get more aggressive with this. The more people ask, as, you know, like Jesop and wherever the future is going, that I'm purposefully now trying to push forward. It's just like, so then when I'm going to start to hear people saying stuff like, how do you make your webcomic, or good example today, actually. Well, no, I'm not going to use that. That's, you know, whatever. I'm still kind of soft on that one. But you'll hear stuff where it's like, how do you make your webcomic and all that cool stuff? I think mostly when it comes to, I'm rambling all over the place, sorry. Of like, you know, how do I get better? What do I need to look at to draw and all this crap? It's like, the follow-up question always has to be, well, what are you doing right now? What are you making right now? Not everybody has to be making a project at all. But if somebody's like, well, I don't really have time to draw or that kind of stuff. Like, you kind of have to cut those people out. Like, it's not being rude, it's just being real. If you're not willing to draw and do all that stuff that comes with it, and all the hard shit that comes with the time investment that takes to fail, to come to the point where you're actually asking people, how do I get, like, what am I doing wrong? Is there anything else? And you don't have anything to show, like you haven't been doing anything, that the problem you want solved, nobody can solve. It's you. You're the problem. You got to figure your own shit out. Figure out how to start making stuff, right? If you're on the other boat where you're making a web comic and stuff, you're just like, maybe your anatomy's a little off or something, and you're just looking for, like, what's another idea I could throw at this thing just to try to get some spark, some fire, like some interest going. That's a much better conversation, because everybody walks away from that feeling better, you know. That's something everybody can gain off of, even if you're not even making a comic or a thing. Because now you're actually watching people, like, grow, and people have a thing, like, they're actually trying. It's not like they're getting ready to try. You know what I'm saying? If you're like very early in the game with this stuff, you just drawing every day is all you need. I still recommend having a goal, like what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're still on that journey of trying to figure out what kind of artist you want to be, you don't know if you want to do comics or you want to do animation or board games, because we're talking about those today, right? Like, you need to figure that out, and everything else starts to line up. It's not like you choose, I'm going to be a comic book artist, like that's all you're going to be for the rest of your life. Could be. Or it could be right now that's what you want. And 10 years from now, you're going to, okay, I tried it, didn't like where it got me, I didn't feel happy, or maybe whatever, and you're going to start changing something else. And you're going to move on. It's all good stuff. John, this might be interesting reading for you later. There's an article of what's going on with management at DC and Marvel. Okay, thanks, man. Yeah, actually, let me open that up over here. I'll read that after. Thank you, man. By the way, I love that Ed McGuinness cover of Captain America that they're showing there. Awesome cover. Rice Armor, do you guys hate when you show your art to someone and they always say, I can't even draw stick figures? Nah. I mean, I don't know. Like, if you're showing somebody that says that, what are you trying to get them to say anyway? Those kinds of comments, it's there's nothing wrong. I don't get offense or take offense from that stuff.
Welcome, and thank you for the follow.
Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Klinger. Welcome, my friend. Say hello in the chat. Introduce yourself to peeps. Join in. If you guys got any questions, by all means, jam them in the chat. Okay, sorry. Going back to that, I don't take offense to it. You kind of, if I'm showing my stuff to somebody that's not an artist, I don't really expect anything. I stopped showing. Like, here's an example. My dad, my actual family, my brother, he's a graphic designer, so I'll show him from time to time. But a lot of times, I don't even show him a lot of stuff because he's not in the. He likes this stuff for sure, but it's not like this isn't what he does, right? So I know people that just enjoy this stuff. I don't bother showing them certain things because I know the reply I'll get. And you kind of have to go back and ask yourself, well, like, why are you showing something? Whereas if I'm showing, like, another artist that I look up to, hey, what do you think of this? And they say stuff like, hey, looks good. Looks like your style. Anatomy's kind of fucked. All right. So, you're going to get, like, a constructive criticism if that's what you're looking for. But if you're just showing people stuff and, like, you just don't like that reply, I guess, of, oh, wow, looks good. I couldn't even draw, like, a stick figure. Okay, well, that's fine. I get the joke. I've heard it a billion times. It's like when I worked in retail and people would come up, oh, this is the dumbest shit. Please, if you are one of these people, okay, just hear me out from a retail perspective and just don't ever think about doing it again, okay, because it's so ridiculous. So they come up and they're like, one of two things. One, hey, this didn't have a price tag on it. Is it free? Yeah, of course it's free. Dumbass, right? And then the other one is like when you're ringing something in and, the scanner's just not picking it up and you know what the next thing they'll say? Oh, I guess it's free, right? Like the dumbest. It's along those lines. If that's what you're kind of talking about, of being annoying, of like it's like such a stupid reply. Then yeah, I I get you 100%. You know how many times a day you hear that stuff? It's like if it's your first time working retail, you might giggle. You know, like, yeah, it's kind of funny. You know, it's a good joke. Real quickly, it just turns into like a oh my god. Are you trying to impress the girl you're with right now with like these comments? What are you doing? Is it free? People love being smartasses. They do. They do. Myself included. Retail employees don't get paid enough. What makes you say that, Tim? What makes you say retail people don't get paid enough? I'm not siding with anybody. I'm just curious where this conversation could go. Because I'm going to set you up. Because I like to say this sometimes when people say artists don't get paid enough. What's enough? What's that number that makes it so people stop complaining? What profession do you think is paid perfectly? Like, what profession do you guys think is paid? That yep, that number is right. That's the right number for that thing. Do you guys know it all? Does it exist? I'm not trying to like call you out to like you know poke fun or anything. I'm actually interested because I hear that stuff a lot of time from artists as well, right? Like, man, we don't get paid enough for this shit. Although sometimes I think it's just like it's a thing people say, you know. You'll still do it, but just a thing you say. Let's get some spit. This guy's really upset. He's really mad. Tip. You would expect that a job that pays minimum wage doesn't require much effort. But working retail, a gas station, it might be different at other jobs. With such a straining and annoying job, like it, at least pay us a bit more than minimum wage. Effort to reward is totally imbalanced in the work field. I hmm. I understand what you're saying, and I agree to a point. Something I'll add though, and I think this is important. Just my my perspective on it, and I'm on my soapbox again, is that I agree 100% that the no, that I don't agree with. I actually don't agree with this. That the effort to reward is imbalanced. I've worked plenty of retail gas station job as well, and I slacked a lot. Maybe because I felt like I was underpaid, right? Maybe that's the reason why, or that's the excuse I gave myself. I would argue that I didn't even want to do the thing to start with. I just needed a job. So if you're going in with that mentality, which I think pretty much is the entire workforce, I just need to eat and I need money in my bank account. Like that's not the attitude that's going to get you more money anyway, right? So let's bring this back to like art. There's lots of freelance artists that you could try doing this thing, and you'll put in minimal effort and you don't get anything out of it. Or there's other people that bust their ass doing all kinds of gigs and freelance shit, and they apparently seem to be making a better living for themselves, right? So I do think, I guess it's the I would preface what you're saying just in this context. Nobody has to agree with me on that. Just my own view on it is that is the job you're doing what you want? Do you want to be doing that anyway? Because I would argue, I'll be upfront with this one. I had very many, so you have like generic positions, and then the upgraded position you get is a key holder. I don't know if you guys get that, but it's pretty much here in Canada where I'm at, where it's like, okay, so I count money at the end of the night. Ooh, I'm in charge kind of when the boss isn't there, but I'm not management, but I am management, and you don't get paid that much more, right? I never treated that job any more different than as if I was just doing stock or something. I just, the thing was, I didn't even want to be there, right? I got paid a little bit more, which is always great. Everybody will take money. I'll totally take extra money. Thank you. Appreciate that, right? But it's that above and beyond shit that we're not going to do anyway because we don't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. I'll just say I'm not going to speak for everybody. I'm just going to go ahead and I'll just put it in that frame of mind there, right? So like on one hand, I agree. Like having to clean washrooms and stuff is the fucking worst. But if you got to do it, you got to do it. That's what it takes for you to keep food in your belly and stuff. I get it. The other thing I'll add to that, though, because I always like playing devil's advocate with this stuff and throwing it back at people, which is like, if you don't like what you're doing, and you have to do this right now, okay? That we've established that right now, what you're doing, you have to do. And this goes with comics as well, all in your day job and all that crap. Okay, guys, so apply it to all that stuff. If that's the case, what steps are you taking outside of your job that you don't want to do to replace it with something else? Because I'll tell you this, it's been my experience anyway, which could be most likely not everybody's experience, but whoops, this perspective is way fucking off. Is that if you're not doing anything, or you're doing the bare minimum to replace what you're doing right now, like, I don't know, you can't complain. Just me. Just me. Hey, Rainbow Bright. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Because let's be honest, like, let's say a cashier. I think very few people actually want to be. Okay, maybe that's the wrong language there. It's like we're always worried about what we want to be, and that just means like that's what other people. That's what other people refer to us as. Like, oh, they're a doctor. That's them. They have like prestige or something that comes with that, or some shit, right? And that's what I'm saying. I don't think many people want to be a cashier, but you might have to be one. But again, if you're just settling with that, I don't know. Everybody's life circumstances are different, but if you're just settling with just that, it's kind of hard to like listen to people complain about it, especially if they're not really doing anything to get out of that situation. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like that bullshit excuse where it's like, oh, this bad stuff always happens to me. Come on, come on. You can have. I saw this one thing. It was a really wonderful quote, right? It was like, I mean, let's be honest. We're on the internet right now, so you've got the internet. You probably got some level of food, whether it's good or bad for you. I don't care. You got something in your belly. You're what? You're already like better, not better. You're in a better situation than like 80% of the world. It's even maybe even be higher. I don't know. It seems kind of weird. But anyway, in saying all that, I don't even know where I'm going. I'm just off that horse. Anyway, welcome everybody. How's it going? Let's draw art. Let's draw pictures. Let's all be friends. All right, King Mexia is pissed. Doom, 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 doom. All right, let's merge these together. Shit, I can see the. Yeah, it's gonna get all that. Awesome. So we get that. Now let's finish this dude up. All right, let's erase those ears and stuff. We're gonna put some of these like feathers in the air to show that he's like really losing it. Yeah, it's gonna start looking like spit, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe we'll put it on when we anchor something like that. One cross country is saying one cliche I hate hearing is that I'm lucky that anyone pays me to be an artist. I never hear that from any other profession. Why do we do that to ourselves when entertainment is the biggest moneymaker in the world? I never hear a plumber saying the luckiest people to fix. Yeah, no, it's true. I wonder off because I do say that I'm grateful for yeah, grateful is the same as thankful. I say that for like Patreon and stuff. I'm not trying to like defend myself here at all. What you're saying, I 100% agree with and I get. I just say it because I am grateful for that. I guess the only difference, the reason why, I suppose, in my mind, I'll just defend myself to this point, just to get a conversation going, is the reason I even say that is because the perceived difficulty of having a career or a job doing whatever you want to do, whatever you choose to do, that comes with a huge cost to it. Not money necessarily, but like there's a reason why a lot of people give up on like that dream of doing what they want for a living, right? This plumber we're talking about, maybe they wanted to really be a plumber, right? And I hear what you're saying. They're not just like, oh my god, like I'm so. But in their own time at home or something, or when they're on like barbecues or something with their family, they might say like, oh, I'm like I'm grateful that I got this plumbing job. Like they might say it. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. The reason I'll just wrap it up with that. The reason I say it is because I like personally I'll be forever grateful for oh shit, what did I? Oh sorry, I got confused. I'll be forever grateful for anybody that is willing to give me money or throw money at me, to maybe support's the wrong way, the wrong word for it. I'll be forever grateful for anybody that gives me money because of something that I'm doing for myself. That to me is like, it's like running your own business. Yes, I'm providing a thing, and some people are like, I like it enough to give you money, or not everybody does. I get that. I'm not trying to, I don't have my hat out here looking for coins today. I'm just saying that, like, I understand that, but the amount of times that I have heard, stories, horror stories, I guess you call them, from people that have given up on their dreams or something. I don't know. We're all over the place, but I hear what you're saying. I'm getting tangled up in like a big circle jerk here trying to explain it. It's a good one. No, you're right though. Tim's saying, yeah, I get that point. It kind of. Let's get the music going. Let's wait for the name to pop up. Thank you for the follow, Night Owl Man. Ooh, I like it. Night Owl Man, welcome, man. Are you an artist as well? You drawing the picture stuff? Let everybody know in the chat who you are. If you got links, spam them in there. Get everybody to check out your stuff if you got it. Appreciate the follow. Okay, sorry, where the hell are we going? Okay, back to that. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, it kind of deviated to a different topic, though. But like all the shitty representatives in the U.S. who got paid off by a bunch of ISPs to pass bills to stop net neutrality, didn't have to do much of anything, yet still made tons of money. Yep. Yet the people who have to bust it to keep gas stations running, keep food, the country getting paid a year, of those dudes making a few months. Okay, so in that, I'll never defend like if you want to call them the 1%, whatever. There is okay, so some people, yeah, I think are born with lots of, or born into a life, of course, right? Just like if you grew up in poverty, you grew up in that life as well, right? So those things, I agree with 100%. The thing I just want to add, the little caveat, is the monetary system is fucked from the get-go. I don't know how deep you guys want to go with this stuff. I'm into the conspiracy stuff, and this isn't even anything. It's the same in Canada as it is in the States, as it is in a lot of other places in the world, and I don't know every single one. I'm not that educated in it. However, if you got a central bank at all, the monetary system's fucked to start with, okay? If you don't know what you're, in the U.S., it says it on your money over there. I'm getting lost in this stuff here, but I know in Canada, I believe ours is in Ottawa, and essentially it just goes like this, right? The central bank prints you your money, but it's actually not run or governed by the government at all. It's a separate entity altogether. Has nothing to do with the government. Nothing, okay? What the government does, though, is they go to the central bank and they say, we need money. We need you to print this money. So the central bank will print it. However, they print it with interest. So if I get $1 from the central bank, I have to give them back $1.10, let's say. I don't know how high it is. So then you have to ask yourself, well, how do you get back on top? And you can't. You can't ever get back out of that cycle, right? So when you know the system's corrupt at that point, like that system makes no sense. It just doesn't, okay? And we don't have time to go into like I guess the other stuff, but that's the system, period, right? So with that being the overlying web in all of this, no matter what field you get into, no matter what career you pick, whether it's drawing comics, and I'll say this, you're fortunate enough to draw comics because it's difficult to do, not just you, but it's difficult enough to get people to be interested in the thing you're doing, okay? So that, or you sadly, why you'd be sad about it, but you have to work at a gas station. Those are all things that are all part of the system that are fucked. I would say if you're in a situation or a position that you don't like, that you think you're getting screwed over with, you're not happy at your job, you have to start taking some responsibility, right? You can't just always blame it on the man or whatever the fuck. You kind of have to bring it back a bit and say, okay, I get it. Everything you're saying is true. Like, yes, the system's jacked. Everything's, you aren't getting paid what you, like, how much would you pay somebody to clean a toilet bowl that somebody just destroyed at a gas station, right? Like, there's some disgusting people out there, and we can all agree to that, right? I don't know what the magic number is to make it so that like people would be lining up outside to like get that job because it pays a lot, right? Whatever. Just ask yourself, what are you doing to better your situation? That's all I'm saying. That's all I want to add on that. I don't want to defend the system, the man, any of that stuff. I'm just saying, I agree with you guys. The underpaid stuff, I think a lot of it, honestly, and this might come across as offensive. Apologize if it does. Is a lot of people are lazy as hell. Okay, I feel like I'm swearing a lot in this stream. A lot of people are super lazy. A lot of people they just want to be entertained. They just want to be distracted and stuff. They're stuck in a rut, and because of that, they don't see a way out, or they don't try to get a way out. So the smarter people, or not even smarter people, they're just people with money, I suppose, know that if I give people just enough to get by, that they're not going to get out of that cycle, then it just keeps us going, right? So, I don't know. Got to look in the mirror sometimes. You don't have to always, you don't have, the rest of your life doesn't have to be working. And this might not be just like that. You could be working in like a factory. You could be working in, where else could you be working? You could be working in an office building somewhere, and it's just not what you want to do. So you have to figure out, like, okay, well, remember what I said, and this is just my opinion, if you want to live the life you want to live, doing all the things that make you super happy and pumped, like, it comes at a cost, like a heavy cost. And some of that is just being uncomfortable. Like, let's look at art for an example here. You want to be a freelance artist? That's the scariest shit ever. It is for me anyway. When I tried doing it, I took it way for granted, and it bit me in the ass. I was just super lazy with it. Like, I'm not just trying to call people lazy. Like, I was lazy with it. I took it for granted. My ego got in the way, and I had to go back to the thing that I thought I left, which is like retail. I had to work 2 retail jobs. I'm not saying that for empathy or anything like that at all. All I'm saying is, like, I get it, but it was all my fault. Some things, I think, and I love how this is turning into like life lessons here. But there's definitely some things that are out of our control. But you gotta find a way to bounce back. If you're not happy, like, nothing's gonna change. Nothing's ever gonna change unless you change it, right? If you draw the extra 5 hours a week, maybe that gets you started into something. You never know, right? Maybe it's going for a walk. I like what I have to do for my health, and I'm getting lazy on that too. So that means I'm not, improving my longevity of life. Like, I will die because of this, but, like, what am I doing to get healthier so that I can live longer? So I don't die, my heart blown out of my chest because I draw too much, because I sit too much while all I do is draw all the time, or that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Soapbox stuff. Night Owl. Sorry I took so long to get back to you, man. Nothing serious yet. Just trying to work on my fundamentals and get my days in paper roll. Welcome to the stream. Normally we don't get. Well, sometimes we get into these kind of chats. I like them. They're fun. But if you got any questions about art or anything like that, man, don't. I assume. Yeah, you put man. So don't hesitate. Feel free. Just jam it in the chat. Lots of cool people here. If you need help, we can get you some help. And thanks again. Race Farmer, do you collect art or comic covers or art books? No. I tried to stop collecting stuff because it was costing too much money. And I was getting stuck in that cycle of, if I'm not doing this is what I want. I want something to come from this sort of stuff. And kind of, again, the same stuff I'm telling you guys. If I'm not acting on this now, it's going to bite me in the ass. And I always feel like... That's why I said I can't take a vacation, because vacations stress me out. As weird as that sounds, if I'm on a vacation, it just makes me go like, like, I'll enjoy it for a few days, but then I'm always like, I'm itching to get back into it. Like, I'm not updating. I don't know if it's like an addiction I have or something, or just like an imbalance, but I need to be, what I feel like if a vacation, let's just say, that I'm not growing with that. And I know that's wrong. I know that's wrong. You have to de-stress some ways, right? Like, I don't consider my life very stressful, thankfully, but at the same time, I get that like, some people need vacations and all that, and I'm not gonna ever judge anybody else, but that's why I don't do those things myself, because I just get, this is sort of like this is my vacation, as sad as that is, that some people might hear that. As for collecting, I used to collect novels and stuff, but I never had the time. I didn't make the time. I don't say I never had it. I never made the time to read them. I started collecting video games for a little bit because I was trying to collect stuff that got me interested in drawing, like for Super Nintendo and all those old RPGs and all that, but I just don't have the time to do that. So essentially I had to, you'll hear a lot of people say they don't play video games because they want to make comics, and video games take too long, too much time. I think that's right in one hand, but at the same time, if you can still do all your shit and still be happy, always be happy. Don't start making like push your boundaries for sure. Like, have a little bit of pain every now and then, because I just had a hard day at work. I don't want to draw today. You're like, come on, tough it up. Put an hour into your project because 10 years from now, you're going to wish that you spent an hour in there. If that's what you want. Don't just do it because other artists are telling you, right? Definitely do that. But at the same time, like, have some fun, do your thing. Do what makes you happy with what you're doing. And if collecting is your thing, you want to collect some stuff, man. You only get one shot on this thing, right? So have some fun. Damn it, have some fun. I'm trying to think if there is actually, like, I actually not threw out, but I donated a whole bunch of comic books and stuff. You can actually go back, I think, a year ago. Was it a year ago? It was about a year ago. I posted on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff because it posts through that. But I posted on there, like, it was my hallway. I was moving this room into another room, right? And I had to take all my. I was reading. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this. The Kamari method. Is that her name? I always forget her name. I was just at the bookstore, of course, looking for new books to buy or new manga and stuff, and I came across, it was like this the art of stress free living or cleaning or something. It's kind of like the minimalism stuff a little bit, which I think that minimalism stuff. I don't know if anybody here really digs it, but I think it's actually really cool. I'm into a lot of that stuff, and even though I don't really do it, but I like the idea of it. But anyway, I was reading a lot of that, and like she was saying, when you start throwing out a lot of this shit that clutters your mind, you're always aware of stuff, and you're adding to your stresses and blah 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 blah. And first things first, okay, grab all your shit and put it on the floor, and then you start going one by one. Do I want to keep this? If you're going to keep something, why? It has to have either like a sentimental thing, maybe a sentimental thing, or you feel happy having this thing, not a collection thing, not one day I might use this kind of thing. And that's why I was looking at it. And so and it's actually funny because now I don't actually look at a lot of these comics here. I could probably even downsize this. However, the comics that I do have, I actually enjoy all of them for different reasons. Whether the story I thought was awesome, it's great art reference, that kind of stuff. And I just stopped buying art books and things myself. And Pinterest has been amazing. That's been an amazing find as well, man. There's so much really cool inspirational artwork online that I feel like I don't need an art book. I can just reference it there. But don't get me wrong, there's some art books I love. That Street Fighter art book I have, it's one of my favorite art books I've ever gotten. But yeah, I tried to stop collecting stuff because it just made me spend more money and stuff, and that would lead to other problems and blah, blah, blah. Art by Ruben. Welcome, man. I think the system is definitely flawed, but you still have an opportunity to make a living on what you do as long as you work hard enough. Yeah, absolutely. Work hard and work smart. Rituals yeah, you're right. And even people in the rut, that is their ritual. Come home, see their wife or husband, and they get angry. Right? That's the routine. There's lots of routines that need to get broken if you're in a spot that you don't like. And I'm speaking to myself. I don't ever want this stuff to come across like I'm judging people. I'm just take all the shit I'm saying with a grain of salt. Tim, yeah, you make a lot of definite true points. I won't say that I'm the hardest worker, but for the people that do work their asses off but don't get the success they deserve, it's frustrating to see. Yeah, I will, like, people, like, you might be talking about, like, people that you feel like they're just getting taken advantage of and stuff. I agree. I will say some of those people, though, again, I'll never, I don't like the bully aspect and stuff, but you got to ask yourself some stuff and be real, right? Like, how many people are like even the nice people that are working their asses off and stuff, and they could be your parents or your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, brother, sister, whatever, right? Or just a coworker, and you're like, fuck, man, this person keeps getting stepped over or passed over and stuff. Like, what are they doing to stop it? Maybe they don't see it. That could be a thing too. You tell them, you're getting used and stuff, right? Like you don't get paid enough to do this shit, and they just don't hear it. There's that as well. Yep. It's tricky. Cross Contour is saying I collect how to draw books and reference books. It's hard for me to stop that because I thirst for knowledge. I did the same thing, my man, and the reason why I stopped doing that is because I actually stopped looking at these things. This is one thing I'll throw out to everybody. So if you can get an anatomy book, let's say Loomis, we'll throw Loomis or Bridgman. Those are usually the big two, in my opinion, right? So you get Loomis or Bridgman, or even the Michael Hampton book, Figure Drawing Design and Invention. Yeah, I think that's it. Uh, if you can't study that book, or if you don't study that book, I would argue that you're wasting your time collecting more. It's cool to flip through this stuff, but if you're not applying it, that's a problem. I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just saying that is a problem because then you're basically your anatomy books become art books, right? As opposed to thinking of it and treating it like, okay, well, we're gonna have to do a study session tonight of Loomis. Because a lot of art books and stuff you'll keep on the shelf, and maybe they're like a coffee table book, or you bring them in the bathroom with you from time to time, or I don't know. Anyway, Night Owl Man, I would love to collect comics, but it's pretty pricey here. Where do you live, man? Like the Invincible series, I got them. I love that. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Takes a lot of room. Yeah, it absolutely does. Race Armor. I bought Andrew Cockroach's art book. Oh God, I was looking for that, and when I saw his post, I think it was on Instagram. That took me a while. They were already sold out. I was bummed. Exactly. Like if Joe Madureira made one, are you kidding me? I'd be all over that. You got the Hampton one? Awesome. I think that's probably the honestly the best anatomy book I've ever read. He has like I would say like I would I could be you guys could say I'm wrong on this or whatever, but I would put the Michael Hampton book up there with like this generation's Loomis and Bridgman. He just does some stuff that's streamlined, shows uses stuff like just think of these colors to remember shapes and stuff. It's all great things, but the Loomis stuff, like they still have golden principles in those books. But regardless, if you're getting into comics and stuff, as great as those books are, and they're great. Oh boy, are they great! Just remember, anatomy is cool, but unless you're making comics, all that anatomy doesn't matter. Because you're gonna find out that a lot of that anatomy you don't even need. But it's good to know. It's definitely good to know. Because you never know if you're gonna stay in comics or whatever, right? You could skills translate from one thing to the next. So your study of anatomy and crap right now could pay off, and maybe you go into graphic design or concept art or something, right? Black and White Ultimates 3. Whew, I didn't even. Oh, wait, is that like all pencil? I'm gonna have to look into that. Because I'd like to look at that stuff just to study the artwork, just to look at that. I don't really care about the comic book. It's like his art. Doom, 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 doom. Yeah. Yeah, sure did, Cross. Alright, so I have a little note here. This is going to be mostly shadow. So I think what we'll do is we'll just kind of have like the shape of him. I know he's mostly going to be shadow, but I think I'm just going to black him out too. So I think I want to show his big belly 100% because I think it's funny. Alright, so we get the big gut coming out and his little his big belly button, I guess. Maybe we'll drape the shadow this way. Bring it back this way. I'm just gonna put X's because I know to ink that. And I'll put spikes on. Okay. Yeah, we could put all that there. But we can have like his eye here. That way we can put some glowing in it. Does this have some glowy in it? I don't something glowing in it. Alright, and let's put that below it. Cool. La 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 la. La 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 la. Alright, we're going to start wrapping this up in about 5 minutes or so, you guys. So if you had any other questions or anything like that, needed help with anything, by all means, jam it in the chat. I will do my best to answer it. And I want to say thank you again, everybody. Pop it in the stream. If you're following right now, or if you're viewing anyway, and you're not in the chat, that's cool. But if you're interested in following more streams and all that stuff, please hit that follow button at the top. You get notified when I go live. Also, there should be a bunch of links below. You guys let me know if you see them. I haven't heard anybody talk about them. Not that they're like amazing. They're not. I'm just I want to make sure everybody else can see what I can see. They'll take you to my webcomic, which I'm drawing right now, which is Jesop King, and that the story anyway is the story of an exiled princess who befriends a decommissioned war machine as they adventure through the galaxy. I'm pretty sure it's page 25 went live today, so you guys can go check that out if you're interested. And if you're already reading the comic, thank you. Consider sharing it with your friends if you think it's cool enough. There's no fidget spinners and stuff in there just yet, but we'll see what we can do to fix that up. And if you're coming in a little bit late, that's cool. I think a lot of these, they get uploaded back up on Twitch here, so you can watch them right away. Or if you guys are following me on YouTube as well, you can head on over there. There's a whole, 7 years worth of stuff we've been doing over there. We're just getting started. We're just new here on Twitch, so. La 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 la. Infinite Roleplay. Hey, coming in as I'm leaving. Sorry, buddy. It's all good. Well, it's not your fault, right? It's not my fault. Or sorry, it's not your fault either. If you look at the bottom where it says schedule, I don't even have anything there, so you don't know when to come in. You don't know when this is happening. This is so spontaneous. I'm scared to put a schedule up there, guys. The moment I put that, that means like I have to do it. And when I have to do something, I don't know. We'll probably get a schedule going at some point. I think, honestly, the reason why I haven't put a schedule up there, besides, like I just said, it means that I have to do it. It's like a commitment, right? At least until I take it away again. But is that I'm still not 100% sure on how long it's going to take to do the new version of Jesop King, right? Like I've told you guys, when we start changing the way that it updates in the releases and stuff. So I don't know how the time. It's different now that I'm doing this because with how we're doing comic right now, I've already figured out how long it takes to do stuff, so I could put a schedule down there and just block away some time. 100% do that. But since I know it's not staying like this, it's really one of the main reasons. Besides the Fear of commitment. But we'll get something going. You've been lurking on YouTube forever. Ooh, a shadow fan. Well, thanks for coming out of the shadows for a little bit and saying hi to everybody. Appreciate it. And thanks for being a long-time supporter. I love you too. All right, so we got, this is going to be such a cool page. I can't wait to okay, so check this out, right? We get this, everybody's screaming, everybody's mad, and we get the shadow figure comes out. Show these heretics the meaning, they speak weird, right? So show these heretics meaning of pain. And then just that even more close up, so I don't have to draw a lot. As you command, God, King, and then here we go, right, with the big, he's just going to scream and guys, we're just drawing fun stuff. Now, if I could, schedule drawing 12 hours a day. You know what? If you were, I would say if you got paid to do this, you could, right? Or if this was your full-time thing. I'll be honest with you guys. Okay, if I get a full-time job doing comics, I'll be streaming pretty much every moment of those days, unless it's let's say it's a publisher where it's NDAs are signed or something. Okay, if it's just me doing this, so let's just say I don't know, 6 months from now, I don't know, and I'm making enough money to go okay, I'm gonna quit my job and really give this a go, let's say, then I'd be streaming it all day as well. Why wouldn't you, But when it's NDA stuff, you can't. So because, right, if this is all you're doing, if this is your job, then you can do it, You have to do it. It's like going to work every day. You somehow figure out how to do that. And you probably don't even want to go, but you figure out how to do it. Race Armor, what font are you using for dialogue? It's a Joe Madureira font. I forget what site I bought it from. It's his Battle Chasers font. I picked that font because Battle Chasers is probably the first comic that I read that I actually was everything about this comic I'm in love with. It's still a fantasy comic, but it reminds me of superhero sort of Final Fantasy. Not really, but kind of back then. And welcome and thank you for the follow. Waiting for the name to come up. Bake Money. Bake Money. That's all. Great name. Welcome. Thank you. I'm actually heading out, so I appreciate it. You'll hear me on the next one. I think tomorrow we should be streaming too. I'm trying to think. Should be good. Probably about the same time tomorrow as well, okay? But anyway, that's the font I'm using. It's just called... What's the font called? CC Joe Mad. Okay? So you can search that. I'm sure you could go online and get it free if you really wanted to. But again, I'm using it because it's more of a nod for myself to what got me excited about comics. But really, the first book. I was reading some comics before then. Spawn was my first comic that I didn't really care about superhero stuff. Spawn, the paper quality, everything was different. It was awesome. And then this came along and it was just holy shit, this is great. So that's the font I'm using. Do you have any plans on printing your comic? No, I don't. This is going to be a 100% digital book. Maybe if people want it bad enough, there's a chance. I don't want to say nothing's impossible for the project, but right now, I know I repeat myself with this, but it's okay because not everybody comes to the streams and stuff, and that's cool. And sometimes some people hear stuff at different times, right? But the whole point of this comic is two things. One of them is to try and gain a bigger audience and awareness of my stuff. Okay. The second one is as much as I want to be a comic book artist, I'm not working hard enough to make comic books or pages. So I could either go and try to get work with... There's big publishers and stuff, and to be candid with you guys, about every 2 to 3 weeks, I send 6 pages as I finish them to editors at Marvel and DC, and I think one at IDW that are interested in seeing my stuff. Nobody's talked about work, nothing like that, but I'm showing them the stuff that I'm making stuff, and all it does is open up potential possibilities, right? So I don't want to close doors anywhere. I'm just here to make them open, and what happened was I want to, like I said, I felt like I wasn't making enough comic books to call myself a comic book artist. So I had to think, is that what I want to be? Because my habits aren't doing that. Like, if I wanted to be that, then why am I not making comic books, right? And really, what it just came down to was that I just don't want to draw certain things for everybody. So, meaning, if I want to draw more comic book things, right, I could look over here. There's lots of people offering gigs online for comics, but I'll tell you right now, I had 4 people when I posted on some site saying, I'm looking for work. Please send me your script or whatever. I'm looking for work. 4 people sent me their scripts. I didn't like any of them. They were all like and if you're watching, I apologize. It's just not my thing. It was zombie this. It was zombie that. It was vampire chicks. It was stuff that I know has a niche following, but I don't want to draw that stuff. And there was one that was a superhero book, but it was everybody was in like suits, and I'm like, I don't want to draw suits, you know. So I'm just doing what I'm doing. This just gives me an excuse to keep making comics, broaden my fan base, hopefully, and gain exposure and draw stuff that I want to draw. The only thing that this is missing that I know of, because, you know, like if I send this to, let's say, a Marvel DC, there's no skyscrapers, there's no stuff like that. So I am going to slowly start adding that stuff in the way we're going to be updating going forward, you know, with like page updates of stories. So it's not just like, okay, well, here's 40 pages of skyscrapers and shit. I don't want to get stuck in that rut, but I can sprinkle it in just to kind of expand on it. So I hope that clarifies that up a little bit. Sorry. Yeah. So that's my model for the first year here, is to just keep doing this and posting it online for free, all that stuff. I'm not looking to sell or make money at all. People that are pledging on Patreon to keep me doing this and to show their support, forever grateful for that. That's tremendous. I appreciate it. I'm not asking for it. Well, that's a lie. Sometimes I do, but I mean, I'm not trying to. That's not all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do those first 2 things, right? So there's that going on. In year 2, I guess we call it phase 2. That's when I'm going to look and go, what platforms have I posted on in this year? How many people are they getting? How many hits and stuff, right? Like, where am I going to start focusing more on putting this? And if it looks like I might be able to make some money, print most likely won't be the way I'll go, because I just don't want to deal with all the stuff around me, like shipping and all that shit. I don't want to do that. So it'll be like digital stuff, like Comixology and things like that. There's an audience that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger on digital platforms. So I don't want to just say, if I'm going to do this, I have to do books. I don't want to do books. I just don't want to deal with that. I'm being very picky and pretentious, and I know that. And I'm just being clear on what it is that I want, and I'm just going at that and seeing what happens. I'm not expecting, because I'm being stuck up here in a way. Like, I'm not expecting it just be, of course, I'm driven and it's going to work. I just want to see what happens. And I know if I start scattering the stuff around, it could get like, I'm going to get out of here. Stuff rambles. There's a couple questions I want to answer, but like, just assume I print this, right? I'm making this thing. I've heard the horror stories online. I've watched streams of people talking and videos. So I go Kickstarter. I gotta make the Kickstarter. That takes time to do. Plus, I have to keep making this. I can't put this on pause. That defeats the point of why I'm doing this. Okay, so I have to somehow or make the time to get that going with this. And it's all possible, right? Just more discipline and stuff, and being like no outside fun besides this thing for like a month. Get that done. Make the campaign. Let's assume it's successful. Then that means now I have to actually go and get this stuff printed, have it all shipped here or something. I don't know, Amazon stuff. Like, it's all stuff that I don't have the resources to do right now. And if this was a business, I can't do all of that. This alone is enough work. Okay, so that's why I'm relying heavily on the shoulders of just digital. You guys are here. People are checking this stuff out. People still know about it. It sucks. I'm with you. If I had it like right here, right? Like I was telling you guys, I printed this stuff out to like do some pencil work and stuff. Like, seeing it like this, trust me, this is how I grew up with comics. I'm like, this is how it should look. It's how I'm drawing it. It's great. It looks cool to me. I'm enjoying it. Awesome. I just don't have the resources and the structure, not time-wise, I mean like infrastructure, I suppose, to support that. If I was a freelance artist, let's say, I didn't have my day job, that would be a different story, okay? My day job is like 9 hours a day, right? So that's time that's committed away that I can't put towards it. So that's what I'm saying. If I hired, I can't hire anybody because I have no income coming from this. So it's a catch-22 in both areas, and that's why I'm trying to document this stuff, because it'll help grow viewership, as well as anybody that's out there that might want to do their own thing. You might hear what I'm doing and pick on things that you like and do that, and watch things I'm doing that you don't like and get rid of them, and just share, and all that stuff. So anyway, I hope that's super clear. Picardo, I just stopped using that because the platform was getting shit. Like sometimes it wouldn't load. Sometimes, the chat wouldn't load. I wouldn't be able to connect with people. I'm sure it's all ironed out now. But when I first started using it, it just gave me a sour taste in my mouth that I didn't want to. I'm like, no, we don't have Ustream, we don't have live stream. Let's go back to YouTube. And that was great. And we tried, I think, once on Twitch for like a couple times, but it was different. Now, I mean, I enjoy Twitch. I'm not married to it, but it's cool. Like we're getting more followers every time I stream, which is great. You can see if you guys have been on Twitch, Twitch comes with some community building stuff, and that's huge. YouTube is great. YouTube doesn't change. This is no different. I'm just streaming somewhere else. You guys might have to do an extra click. I understand that. But at the same time, some of the stuff we're gaining here on Twitch has been awesome. So you're just going to copy me? Hey, awesome. Great. Let me know how it goes. Anyway, I'm out of here. See you guys. Actually, wait. We gotta do this right. We got to get some tunes ready. So you guys can listen to some music on the way out. Let me make sure. Yeah, that sounds funky. All right, we'll end on that. Okay, anyway, thank you guys so much. And again, keep reading comics, keep making comics. Appreciate your time. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. If not, whenever you're watching this, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.